Recently, I had Joe from British biking brand RST come over and show me their latest integrated airbag technology and show me how it works.
Oh yeah!
We just let the cameras roll and we had a proper good chat about it. So I've tried to trim it down where possible and give you that information, but Joe goes into so much info. This might end up being a two-part video, but you might want to strap yourselves in for this one, get yourself a cup of tea, because it is a little bit long, but it really goes into a lot of detail about why RST are using this technology. A couple of the main distinctions compared to other airbag tech on the market is that RST didn't make it themselves, and secondly, it's integrated and not a vest. So let's cover why they've gone down this route first. So the airbag technology in this isn't proprietary to yourself, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we work with a company called Motion. They're based out in France. And the reason for this is that basically we're very good at making garments. We've been doing it for a very long time. But in terms of airbag, there's lots of, like you say, there's lots of technicalities about that system that we want to make sure delivers protection for our customers. Now, there's two kind of ways that you can look at the airbag system. There's the software and the hardware. So the hardware is the bits and bobs that go into the jacket. Yep. And we're really happy with the way that InnoMotion build their airbag systems, because there's lots of advantages to them, being very comfortable, which we'll go into. You can service it yourself, again, we'll go into. But the big thing is that their software element is absolutely fantastic. So if we wanted to create an airbag system that had a brain that decides whether or not we're in an accident, we would have to spend a long time gathering the data. So we'd have to give you a jacket, we'd have to give you a jacket, you a jacket, you a jacket, and we say, right, go out and ride your bike a lot, log lots of data, and then deliver that data back to us. Then what we'd have to do is pull that data out and kind of create this environment in which we say, right, that's the way a motorcycle operates, that's an accident. And that data is really dependent on actual volume. InnoMotion have a vast volume of data that's constantly being updated. And there's a team of France that's constantly working on the algorithm to deliver a safer system to the end user, which is a great reason to actually work with them. There's a team constantly working on this.
That's fantastic. So it's taking a shortcut and getting you to that end product a lot quicker. We've actually really proven results.
Absolutely,
and, development behind it.
Yeah.
So they took InnoMotion's airbag technology and integrated it into their own jackets. Now, InnoMotion make vests and rebrand them for other companies, so why did RST choose to integrate it?
Simply for protection.
Okay.
At RST, what we're big on is what we call both active safety and passive safety. So active safety is how a product performs in the event of an accident. We can judge this through things like approvals, through CE/CA rating, as well as our own testing. And kind of actually putting the product through its throes as we need to. But there's also passive safety. Okay.
Yep.
The idea behind passive safety is if you're comfortable in a garment, you're much less likely to be involved with a motorcycle accident because you're concentrating on what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay. So perfect. The big thing with airbag is it can be quite uncomfortable because of the nature of the bag itself.
It's a big bit of plastic.
It's a big bit of plastic.
Body.
Exactly. Plastic doesn't breathe, for example, so it gets very hot if you don't engineer it correctly. You're talking about additional layers to hold on to the airbag piece. You're talking about additional weight. So think about the fatigue on your body when you're going on a big long tour. If you're traveling for 6 hours and your jacket weighs a kilo or 2 kilos, the kind of forces on your body just using the thing are completely different. And you could get to the end of that 6-hour ride and you are gassed. You've got no energy left. You can't concentrate on the road. So you're going to be way more likely to be involved in an accident.
Got it. Okay.
So we need to know, first and foremost, that the garment's going to protect you in the event of an accident.
Yeah.
Secondary, we need to know that you are going to be comfortable. If you are thinking about your products in any way, it's exactly
not doing the job properly. Yeah.
Exactly. So the reason why we integrate it in terms of a safety thing, here's the Adventure X airbag. We do an Adventure X without the airbag. They look identical, right? So if we had them here, you won't be able to tell them apart.
Yep.
There's over 40 changes
in
in the sizing pattern alone between the two. So literally just the shape of the garment to allow for the deployment of the airbag, to make sure everything's in the right position. So you're protected in the best way possible, and so the garment's not going to adversely affect the way the airbag works. So that's in terms of the active safety.
Interesting. And would just to jump in there, if I was a medium in the normal jacket, would I be a medium in the airbag variant of that jacket too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's a great thing for your guys in store,
Yeah.
for customers, that they can comfortably purchase what they've had before from RST. They absolutely will be that size as well, assuming they've not got any extra Christmas clothing, right? Okay,
of course.
And then the other side of things is, as I've mentioned, the passive safety. Now, the passive safety, again, so you've got the lightest weight own airbag technology. The 600 to 700 grams is what the additional weight of the airbag components actually costs in terms of a weight penalty in our garments. So that's really, really lightweight. We don't have any additional layers to actually hold on to the airbag components. They're literally built into the liners. So you get lots and lots of airflow in the in-motion system and the way that we build it in. It's very flexible, very comfortable. It doesn't, it's not, you're not resisting the actual movement of the garment. So it just makes for a much more usable garment. We want people to actually adopt this technology. We want them to be safer. And so it makes it really, really easy by building it in. A 1 litre hydro pack is a kilo of water.
Oh, okay. So
it's a 1 litre bottle. That is an 800 ml bottle. That weighs more than if that was full of water, that would weigh more than our airbag componentry.
And you wouldn't really complain that's a heavy thing. So, yeah.
One thing I would say is, hey, when people pick this specific jacket up, they go, wow, that weighs a lot. Okay, but pick the non-airbag version up. This is a substantial jacket. So this is a AA rated garment. We put a lot of kind of features into the Adventure X that make it a very protective, very substantial garment that's meant to be used in a lot of different kind of environments, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty heavy jacket as is. Add in the airbag, and it's not that much more additional, is the key takeaway with the weight thing, okay? I'm not saying the jacket is light. I never said that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the additional components.
Yeah.
This is the lightest way to add in the additional components for the airbag.
Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? RST now offer 11 garments with an integrated airbag. Everything from a super lightweight mesh jacket all the way up to a full-on kangaroo race one-piece suit. But there's something that puts people off about the in-motion technology, and that's the subscription.
Yeah, so this is something that we kind of have to talk about quite a lot. And it's something that is a new idea, particularly. But, okay, so that team that I was talking about in France, what they're doing is they're constantly rebuilding the data that goes behind this system to make it safer all the time. That team needs paying for, as well as the technology needs paying for, the actual box that goes in the back of the jacket. With airbags being new technology, we want to make them as accessible as possible because we want more and more riders to adopt the technology, so more and more riders are kept safe. We could bundle in the cost of the team and the box in the jacket, no problems at all. But then the ticket price would be that large, it would be a barrier to actually getting the garment.
Yeah.
Whereas the way we do this system with this subscription model is that you can walk out paying for just the garment and you can pay for the technology in installments. And the brilliant thing about the subscription model is that you can cancel at any time. So let's say you ride for a month, you decide, no, I don't really like the airbag services, just turn it off. You have to send your box back to InMotion, but it's not a problem. You've still got a great jacket, you just don't have the airbag services. The other thing that a lot of people don't understand as well is that you only ever need one subscription. You can only ever ride in one jacket, right? So that box that goes in the back of here can also go in the back of a one-piece leather race suit, a classic jacket, or a touring jacket. So what you could essentially do is have one £12 a month subscription and have multiple garments depending on what type of riding you're doing. To add into that, you've also got the different algorithms. So you've got the road algorithm, you've got a race algorithm if you're going to go riding on a track day, which is really important to use that. But now you've also got an adventure algorithm. So you've got that kind of off-road, green laning, fire roads algorithm to suit that style of riding, which is really, really cool.
That is versatile.
Exactly.
Because some of them you have to, you would have to get a separate one for each type of riding you're going to do. So having it all built into one box, just move it between jackets and change the mode.
Makes sense.
Pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant, right.
There's another benefit to actually leasing the products as well and paying for it on this monthly subscription model, in that the warranty is extended for the period of time that you're leasing it.
Okay.
Which means that if it goes wrong, you don't have any additional headaches. In Emotion, the service that you get from those guys is really, really good anyway. But if you're paying for it on a monthly basis, something goes wrong with the box, boom, they send you a new one, no problems at all. The way that it works is they reprogram a brand new box for you. They send you that to your house, and they pick up from your house the broken box, and that turnaround is about 72 hours.
That's so easy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's simple,
exactly,
actually.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Okay, and on the topic of subscription, then, if I don't pay my subscription, I forget to pay it. Like, what happens, and how does the subscription work if I've stopped paying?
Yeah, and this is something to be really kind of focused on. Is that, let's say your payment bounces. Everybody's payment bounces every now and again. The box only knows it's been paid for the period of time that you lease it. So you pay for that month, it knows it's been paid for a month, no problems. But after that month, it will turn off the airbag services. Now, the box makes it really, really obvious when this happens. So when you turn it on, there's 2 flashing red lights, so that's not a problem. But what's really important, stay on top of your payments, but also make sure you're updating your box regularly so the box knows it's been paid for.
Fantastic.
There's 2 ways to subscribe as well. So we have, we're talking about the monthly option, which is the most popular, which is why I talk about that. But you do save yourself a little bit of money. If you know you're going to be kind of riding all year round, you can save yourself a few quid and pay for a 12-month period. Within that 12-month period, you are tied into that full 12 months. You can't cancel it halfway, but it does mean that you save that extra few quid. Most people in the UK, they tend to pay for the month on month because generally a rider will kind of put away his bike or his or her bike at the end of the year for a certain amount of time. If you do, if you do stop paying for it, In Emotion want the box back. So what they've done is they've actually programmed it now where there's a situation where you don't have to send the box back. So you can drop down £12 a month to £4 a month. You don't get the airbag services, but you don't have the hassle of sending the box back to France.
Interesting. Okay.
And you can do this for, I think, 2, 3 or 4 months.
Oh, so it's like freezing a gym membership. You just pay a reduced rate, but you don't cancel anything. You're just sitting there in the background, asleep, dormant over winter.
Exactly.
There you go.
Like many of us are.
Okay, interesting. But then how would my inbox know that it's been paid for? So regarding a monthly update, you say you pay for a month and then it has to update. How can I update the device? Is there an app? How does it work?
Yeah, so they make it, In Emotion make it as easy as it possibly can be, which is great. There's 3 ways to update it. So first of all, you can plug it into your computer, your desktop, and go onto the website and update it via that. I don't really think anybody does that. I mean, most people these days operate a phone. I don't even have a desktop at home. So the other 2 ways are brilliant. So the most common way is there's an app on your phone that controls the box.
Okay.
You link it to the box via Bluetooth, and all you do, turn the app on, link it to the box, download the update.
Easy peasy.
Happy days. Yeah. The other one is that as part of the registration process, when you first get the app in the box, you are meant to enter your Wi-Fi details, so your SSID and password for your Wi-Fi router. When you get home and you plug the box into the mains, if the box is turned on, it will automatically look for your home Wi-Fi, and it will upload all your rider data, and it will download any new algorithms or updates, including your subscription, to the box as well. And I find that this is a really good way of doing it because sometimes the data can be a little bit confined by your 4G, 5G or whatever else, or sometimes with the Bluetooth link. Whereas if you get home, it's a micro USB to charge it. If you just stick it into the wall like you would with your phone, leave it overnight, you come to it in the morning, beautiful. It's
fully charged, and it's had that conversation with that team in France, collecting the data, and they're giving new information back.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
You got it. Perfect.
Okay. So that the initial setup is really that easy. You get it home, you unbox it, plug it in, download the app, fill in all the details, and it'll tell you what to do. Is there anything else to do with it at all, or?
That's literally it. So the way that it works at the minute is you go onto the In Emotion website and enter your details, kind of like you would for anything else. Address, name. You need to choose how you would like to pay for it. When you go to the next screen, it says what product you got, RST. And it says, have you got an inbox, yes or no? If you click no, one will come to your house loaded with your details within 72 hours. Then when you get it and unpackage it, all you need to do is get the app onto your phone and link the box together with Bluetooth so that they know they're kind of paired and working together.
Fantastic.
Really important though, this is autonomous. So it doesn't need a mobile phone to work at all. If you want to go out and ride your bike and be connected to nothing, that's absolutely fine. If you don't have a mobile phone, a smartphone, for example, which some people don't want to have, again, you don't have to have that. The box has got all the lights on, whatever, to tell you, give you all the data about itself. So you don't have to have that. But we really recommend, most people buying this level of technology will probably have a mobile phone, smartphone. The app is available on Android and iOS.
Yep.
We recommend downloading the app because it gives you a lot of control. It puts you at the heart of your in-motion airbag system. So we really do recommend use the app.
Fantastic. Okay. With a proper setup, it's basically just going to keep itself updated when I plug it in when I get home anyway. That's perfect. What level of protection does it offer though? Okay, cool. So this is the brain box behind everything. So what sort of technology is going in here that's figuring out what we're doing and then ultimately tells the airbag to go off when it needs to?
Yeah, so we call that the inner box, inner box, and it's got all the sensors we need to be able to detect whether an accident is happening or not. The way that the box kind of gathers that data is via a few different sensors. So first of all, you've got a 6-axis accelerometer system. So you've got forward and backward, left and right, and up and down.
Okay.
And the accelerometers, they detect a change in speed measured in G-force. So that's the information that they deliver. Okay. You've then got a gyrometer for your lean angle.
Okay.
And they're your primary sensors. You also have a GPS sensor in the box, so the same as your phone when you're using Google Maps or something like that. What the GPS delivers in terms of information is your current speed.
Okay.
However, the GPS tracker does not need to be connected for you to be protected by the airbag. So, for example, if you drive into a tunnel, or you're near an airbase. An army base or something, something like that. Sometimes you can have GPS scramblers or something, or you can just simply lose connections when all the satellites are not quite lined up. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're still protected. The box is detecting 1,000 inputs every second, so it's really, really, really sensitive, and there's lots kind of being input into the box. And if we were traveling, for example, at 100 miles an hour, we're not actually setting the accelerometers off because there's no change in speed.
Okay.
But if you slam the anchors on, then it's going to detect there's a G-force kind of change. Okay. But actually, it needs more than one input into the box to actually set the box off or set the bag off.
Yeah.
So for example, if you slam the anchors on but your lean angle is a little bit strange, it'll set the bag off, for example. There's millions and millions and millions of different scenarios in which it will set the bag off, and even more where it doesn't set the bag off, and it's something that's really complicated. It's to talk about.
Yeah.
But basically, this library of data that we've got is really, really important. It's very vast, and we know all different parameters of normal riding, and then, this is a bit weird, we need to protect the rider. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So it would know the difference between a really hard launch off the lights and getting hit up the rear.
Absolutely.
Same sort of force, but it knows the difference.
Absolutely. And that's the really kind of clever part about it. That's why we work with InnoMotion, because it would take us such a long time to actually create that data. It sets the bag off in about 25 milliseconds.
Okay.
And it takes about 35 milliseconds to actually detect an accident. So 0 to fully inflated, about 25 milliseconds, 35 milliseconds to actually decide that an accident's happening.
Okay.
So what we say to customers, keep it nice and easy, is under 60 milliseconds average, and you'll be fully protected. About
as quick as...
A human blink is about 120 milliseconds, so it's kind of half.
You could set it off twice, almost.
yeah. What's really funny is when we say that, then everybody starts thinking about how long they're blinking for.
Yeah. I was doing it then.
Yeah.
So then once the bag's gone off and we're inflated, what sort of protection is that giving us?
Okay, so coverage is the thing that people really want to know. And what we've got is we've got full abdomen, thorax, top parts of the shoulders, and full length of the spine.
Okay. Yeah.
The bag is also CE approved, and it's CE approved to basically the equivalent of 2 level 2 back protectors everywhere it covers. So there's a huge amount of protection in the airbag alone.
Yeah.
As part of the system, you've got a CE level 1 approved back protector in every garment as well. It's a very thick back protector and does offer lots of energy absorption, but because of the way the airbag goes through the back protector and the inflator is pressed up against the back protector, it's a CE level 1 approved back protector.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's lots of volume in the InnoMotion system as well. So part of the way that it protects you is it becomes large, so that you've got a big impact point before you're actually hitting whatever you're kind of flying into. And this benefits in the neck area. So what happens is the top parts of the shoulders inflate up to here,
Okay.
and all the way around the back as well, around the clavicle. And this pushes up against the skull. This pushes up against the helmet.
Yep.
So this is really cool because what that does is it stops any hyperextension of the neck. So it actually is an airbag that also protects your neck and acts as a neck brace as well, which is really cool.
So it's going to stop that movement,
Yeah.
especially with the weight of the helmet on top.
Yeah.
Can cause a lot
And
of
your head is
injuries.
heavy anyway because of your brain. So it stops any of that, which protects your neck. And, really important to protect your spine because we get an injured bone in terms of our spine, the spinal column becomes unsupported, and then we've got the potential for nerve damage. And these kind of incidents, we're talking about losing the use of your arms and legs. So they're really high kind of consequence accidents that the inner motion system is trying to protect us from, which is really important.
That's good. You told me earlier about it, how it acts as a bit of a spine board. Give us a little bit more detail on how that sort of works.
Yeah, so with that kind of inflation up into the helmet, with that that volume, it's quite tight when it's kind of fully inflated.
Yeah.
If we were to have, an injury to our spine, the system stays inflated so that it acts to actually stabilize any injuries.
Okay.
So the reason that we get nerve damage is because our backbone supports our spinal column, and if it's unsupported, there can potentially be damage. This system kind of locks us together to try and limit any of that movement that might happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So in terms of an inflation, you have the inflation, the bag is not fully sealed. There will be a slight bit of air escaping over a vast series of hours, but essentially, if you're lying unconscious in the middle of the road, the bag will stay inflated. To protect you in that kind of that spinal way. Not only that, but obviously if there's other objects, other road users or something like that, you've still got the absorption capabilities of the bag staying inflated. To actually uninflate the system, you undo the jacket, take it off, you take the inflator out, and then because it's unsealed, then all the gas escapes. But obviously if you're that injured, those injuries that we talk about, that is not a primary concern. If you have an inflation and you're not that injured, happy days, the bag's done what we need it to do, and that's how you can get the air out of the system.
And I suppose quite embarrassingly, if I've let it go off, how would I recharge it?
So there's a bit of a process to follow, and the app actually takes you through all the stages. Again,
keep it simple.
Why we encourage people to use the app.
Yeah.
So, but effectively, it comes down to this. We want you to check the garment. Let's be honest. If there's a massive hole where the bag sits, you're not going to be protected. So we want you to check the outside of the garment. We want you to check the inside of the garment where the airbag sits. The blue area that actually holds onto the bag is under a lot of force when an inflation happens. So we want you to check the blue area, make sure there's no damage to that. We then want you to put a little bit of air into the system to make sure there's no leaks in the air cushion. If the accident is large enough, if the forces involved are vast enough, essentially the bag will break. Ultimately, it's a sacrificial layer. Hopefully it won't happen because the energies involved aren't that great. But if the bag has burst, there has been a huge amount of energy taken out of that accident. So what we need to do is make sure there's no hole in the bag anyway. So put a bit of air in the bag, wait a second. Does it hold on to that air? It does. Happy days. Take that air out, and you have to make sure you get all the air out, and then you put a new inflator in. They're £100 from us, or $99.99, I think they are in a minute. Put it into the system, click it in. It's as simple as that. And it takes about, if you go through that whole process, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, so it's quite simple. And to put the air in, is that just blow on the end of it, or?
So when you buy a replacement inflator, it comes with an adapter for a foot pump or a compressor. So it's a Schrader valve, the same as that you would have on a car or a motorcycle. So the kind of thing that most people would have at home. I use a bicycle pump.
And that's it so far. I mean, we must be knocking on about 30 minutes already, so well done if you've made it this far. If there's anything that you missed, we didn't cover, maybe wasn't clear enough, fire a comment below. I'll try my best to reply to you and answer your questions. Would it help if I covered another one of RST's airbag garments? Again, drop us a comment and we'll see what we can do in another video. Thank you for watching, ride safe and have fun out there.